President Biden officially pardons his son Hunter this week for all crimes dating back to 2014, despite the White House and the president himself making it clear for months that a pardon was not an option.
Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Would the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no. President, I've been very clear. The president's not going to pardon his son. It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
Will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
Joe Biden even fled to Africa in the same week, completely avoiding press and taking any questions. I spoke with Paul Kamenar of the National Legal and Policy Center for his legal insight into this seemingly surprise decision.
Thank you for having me. He gave him a blanket pardon going back, as you said, to January 1, 2014. And not just for the two crimes that he was convicted of, the gun charge in Delaware and the tax charges in California, for which Hunter actually pled guilty. But for anything that Hunter may have done or thought about doing or whatever since 2014. So it's a very large and broad pardon. And it's clear that Joe Biden was worried that once the Trump administration gets in and Pam Bondi is Attorney General, they can go back and look at some of these other crimes that involve money laundering, foreign influence peddling under the Foreign Agents Registration Act, et cetera. And that's why I think Joe Biden gave him that blanket pardon. But I think it might backfire in this way. Now that he gave Hunter a full pardon, the Justice Department under Pam Bondi and even the House Oversight Committees can have Hunter Biden come before them in a grand jury or before the committee and say, okay, tell us everything you talked to your dad about the money coming through and so forth. And at that point, Hunter can't plead the Fifth Amendment because he's no longer subject to any criminal liability. So he has to give out all the information, all his emails, everything to his dad, to his business partners, et cetera. And so I think that may come back to haunt Joe Biden. But I think Joe Biden is now scratching his head saying, I better also pardon my brother, Jim, because Jim, as you know, was also part of getting the money from Hunter Biden. In fact, even the House Oversight Committee referred both Hunter and Jim Biden to the Justice Department for perjury, for lying before their committees. And so he could be charged with that. And so I think Joe Biden is going to have to pardon the rest of his family, and he may pardon himself, which will be kind of unusual. And it's still not clear whether constitutionally he can do that. But I wouldn't be a bit surprised if he tried to do that. One thing that I thought maybe Joe Biden could have done to kind of save face in a way was to commute Hunter's sentence, to say, okay, you were found guilty. I'm not going to touch that, the jury's conviction and the gun charge. You admitted yourself to tax violations. That stays on the books. But you're my son. I'm your father. I'll give you a break. I'll commute you if any sentence in terms of jail time is imposed. And I don't think he would have gotten any jail time anyway for the gun charge, but for the tax charge, he was facing at least a couple years in prison. So he could have, at the end of his term, saying, okay, I commute your sentence, but keep the charges there. But by doing the pardon, he gave him a pardon for all crimes. And moreover, Hunter's attorneys filed a motion in the courts saying, we want these cases wiped off the books. Mm-hmm. And so David Weiss, the special counsel, said, no, wait a minute. It's one thing to get a pardon, but this is not an expungement. You can't expunge the record as if it never happened. Right. No, that stays on the books. So I think the courts are going to rule in favor of the special counsel on that. But there'll be further investigations of this whole thing with Hunter Biden, once Trump gets into office.
I also asked Paul about the Hunter Biden tax evasion plea deal back in Delaware that fell apart due to the immunity provision. So, since the plea deal gives him more immunity, was this pardon simply Plan B?
Well, yeah, kind of. I think, as you said, that plea deal was fell through the cracks, so to speak. I mean, the judge did not want to have anything to do with it, so that plea deal was over. But in effect, if it went forward, it would be kind of like a pardon because it would not allow the government to go after him for any other crimes, et cetera. So what Biden did here with the full pardon is basically revive, so to speak, the plea deal that went south in Delaware.